Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Look, being tall is almost universally seen as a massive blessing, right? You're naturally great at basketball, you can always reach the top shelf, but are you blessed with height but plagued by scoliosis? The hidden biomechanical trap behind tall statures is absolutely a real issue. So many tall individuals, and especially parents of rapidly growing teenagers, share this kind of silent frustration. You've got this impressive height, but it's paired with constant slouching, dropped shoulders, or even a totally unexpected scoliosis diagnosis. Well, today, we're diving into exactly why this happens, guided by the clinical expertise of a registered traditional and complementary medicine practitioner, Chinese medicine, certified by the Ministry of Health Malaysia, KKM.
And as you'll see here, these foundational insights come directly from Wong bone setting. Having this high-level medical authority and certification from the Ministry of Health Malaysia is absolutely crucial when we talk about spinal health. Because, honestly, the biomechanics of a growing spine require total clinical precision and deep expertise.
Okay, let's dive into this. Let's address the elephant in the room. Is being tall actually a burden on your spine? Let's dispel a major myth right off the bat. Height itself is literally never the problem. The biomechanical issue only pops up when your skeleton grows way faster than your supporting muscles can actually keep up.
So let's get into Section 1, the 3 biomechanical traps. Let's take a look at those hidden dangers.
The very first trap is what we call developmental lag. Basically, it's when a rapidly expanding skeletal framework outpaces the slower development of deep postural muscles and ligaments. Think of the human spine like a 24-segment bamboo pole. To keep this pole completely upright, it relies entirely on surrounding muscles acting as supporting guy ropes. Now, during adolescence, a tall person's skeletal framework expands rapidly. It's exactly like extending a really tall tent pole. But those deep postural muscles and ligaments, they develop much slower. Without upgrading or tightening those guy ropes, under the relentless pull of gravity, that unsupported pole naturally just begins to tilt, twist, or bend.
Trap number 2 brings in the lever principle, which is really just basic physics. A taller stature creates a longer lever arm. What does that mean for you? Well, when a shorter person sits with poor posture, the lateral force exerted on their spine is relatively small. But for a taller individual, that lateral shear force acting on the base of their spine, specifically the lumbar and sacral regions, multiplies exponentially. And over time, that incredible force just forces the spine to deviate.
And the third trap? That involves visual and postural compensation habits. Taller individuals constantly, and usually subconsciously, adapt to their environment. They stoop to use standard-sized desks, they tilt their heads and collapse their lower backs just to speak comfortably with shorter peers, or they slouch simply out of awkward teenage self-consciousness. All of these asymmetrical postures place highly uneven stress on those already vulnerable muscles.
Moving right along to Section 2, Clinical Distinction. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is why professional assessment is so absolutely crucial.
You see, not all spinal curvatures are the exact same, and identifying the correct type is paramount for effective recovery. We really have to clearly distinguish between functional or postural scoliosis and structural scoliosis. Functional scoliosis is caused primarily by those long-standing poor postures and muscle imbalances we just talked about. The bones themselves aren't structurally deformed, which is fantastic news because it means recovery outcomes are exceptionally promising through targeted soft tissue release and postural re-education. Structural scoliosis, on the other hand, involves actual bony rotation or wedging, and that requires strict monitoring of the Cobb angle.
Which brings us to Section 3, Proactive Steps for Tall Statures. Let's talk about what we can actually do about this.
So how do we actively manage this biomechanical trap and empower ourselves at home? First off, monitor growth spurts closely. You can do this using a weekly Adams forward bend test. Second, you absolutely must strengthen the deep core stabilizers, specifically the transversus abdominis and multifidus. Just repeatedly telling a tall teenager to sit up straight is, frankly, entirely useless if they lack the actual strength to do it. They need to build a natural internal muscular corset. And third, physically adjust workstation ergonomics so their spine isn't constantly forced to round over low surfaces.
Finally, Section 4, Clinical Assessment and Booking. Let's look at the clinic's specific approach. Because sometimes home management just isn't quite enough, and professional care becomes critical. Now, this clinic never applies generic force-heavy manipulations. Instead, practitioners utilize dynamic palpation and 3D postural assessments to determine exactly where muscular imbalances or joint restrictions lie, following up with gentle skeletal realignment. If you or your child are struggling with uneven posture, chronic back fatigue, or alignment concerns, it's vital to get proper, hands-on professional help. Please get in touch strictly to book your clinical appointment via WhatsApp. Remember, all clinical evaluations, consultations, and medical advice are exclusively conducted in person at the clinic. WhatsApp is strictly an administrative scheduling tool for booking your physical, in-person visit.
Height truly is a remarkable natural gift, for sure, but it does demand the right muscular support and biomechanical care to maintain it. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Will you intervene during the critical window to ensure you stand tall, straight, and confident? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and take care of that spine.